What's up, y'all? It's your boy D. I'm here with my man T and the other D. Pause, my nigga Drew. And this is Saturday Morning Traffic, y'all. The greatest podcast, not the latest podcast. And we here to give you nothing but great basketball information and good education. So when you checking out our episode, understand that you leaving well informed and highly performed. Amazing.
Amazing. Remember those NBA commercials where amazing happens. All right, yeah, man. We're gonna take a look into what's happened in the off season. Talk about what's the season opener, Christmas games, today's games. Keep you all updated throughout the whole season, and yeah, man, let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. First topic. It's the topic around the league, as we all know. James Harden, requesting the trade, gets John Wall, shifts Westbrook to DC, where you're at, Drew, and gets also DeMarcus Cousins as well. So you have, chemistry between Wall and Cousins, and he still wants out, and then gets fined. Was it $50,000 going to the strip club? And it's a strip club, but what? But
he got fined 1.5.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts? I'll let Drew go first. Let's Drew go first.
Piggyback off of an earlier podcast we did earlier in the year, and we talked about how much Kyrie was a cancer.
Yeah.
This guy, I feel like, is an offensive cancer, with the fact that you can win no championships with this man dribbling the ball 1,000 times a possession, and he has the nerve to hold a team hostage that was built around him. And that's all I got to say about him. He can kick rocks. You know what? I wouldn't pay him more than $2 million a year. You know what? I would put him on that Dwight Howard contract. After this foolishness, make him come every single day
Minimum.
And him earn. Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, D. I know you have a lot. I know you have a lot.
James Harden is a very meticulous case, and I'm not saying that necessarily in a positive nature or a negative nature. I say that because if he would have never left OKC, we would never have the James Harden we have today. The thing about James Harden is he's since Hakeem Olajuwon. When is the last time Houston's really had a player that was the face of their franchise? Because you could say Tracy McGrady, you could say Yao Ming, but what did those players do? Those are 1-2 year runs. 3 tops. They gave you good moment. They gave you shining moments. They didn't give you a great career.
Injuries.
James Harden only left OKC because Sam Presti did not want to give him that extra $2 million, but ended up giving it to Kendrick Perkins. And Kendrick Perkins played 1 year and got injured the next year, and was out of the league.
Right.
He went from you see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going here. So when James Harden went there in his first couple of years, he blossomed. He just was crazy. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe the 6 man on OKC can score like this. James Harden literally had the keys to Houston. They gave him every single thing he asked for. Oh, we don't have a point guard? Oh, no, time out. We don't have a good center? Let's get Dwight Howard. Oh, I don't like Dwight Howard anymore. Get rid of him. Dwight Howard's gone. Oh, I don't have a point guard. Chris Paul comes to Houston, and everybody knows the two best point guards in the NBA right now are who? Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo. Those are the 2 best point guards of our generation, right? There's no, you.
Wait.
Let me finish.
Okay, all right.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
So you get Chris Paul. He's your point guard. You're up on the Golden State Warriors 3-2. And you're telling me Chris Paul gets injured and you can't handle this, but you're such an offensive threat? Chris Paul got injured and you can't handle 12 turnovers. Please explain that to me. 12 turnovers. No answer. I rest my case. So after Chris Paul, I want Russell Westbrook here. Oh, Russell Westbrook is known for being I'm the first person to tell you I can't stand Russell Westbrook. But one thing I can say about Russell Westbrook is he's going to show up. He's going to give you exactly what you asked for, and whatever you need done from him, he'll do. Abysmal shooter, terrible deep, whatever. If you tell him to do it, he's going to do it because that's the type of person he is.
Yeah.
Okay, Russell Westbrook's gone. Now you're complaining about, I don't want to be in Houston no more. James Harden is the reason why Houston sucks. You created a system that revolves around you that's not efficient. It's not an efficient system. Yeah. You're a crazy good player. But the thing about it is you can be a great scorer. You can be all that. I don't care. Kevin Durant is an amazing basketball player. He's not a leader. Michael Jordan is a leader. If you went to the Warriors team back in 2015, who's the leader? Yeah, you can say Stephen Curry, but it could be any. You could say Draymond Green in that same breath.
Yeah,
he's the energy of the team. He's the glue of the team. He's the emotion of the team. James Harden is not that. James Harden has never been held accountable his whole entire basketball career, ever. Because when you're a leader, you move everybody. He would have a championship right now if he was a leader. And that's how I look at James Harden's career. He's not a bad player. He's not terrible, but he's being childish in this situation right now. There's no reason why a game should get postponed because you don't want to be there anymore. It's not fair to your teammates. It's not fair to the league, and it's not fair to anybody that's a Houston Rockets fan. It's not fair, right. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, for me, it's just like what you guys both said. You know, the team was built around him. Gave him the keys. Went through how many coaches? Because you had Kevin McHale there, you had Mike D'Antoni there, and you just had shooters standing while you dribble the ball. Oh, let's kick it out, contested 3, but you dribbled for 18 seconds. So there's not really any ball movement. That's why I do like the trade with John Wall going to Houston, swapping out Russell Westbrook and the whole finalize of that trade, but because he's a scoring guard, but he has the mind of a point guard, so I think that will help the team, the shooters. So getting back to James Harden, he is definitely a cancer. Gone through Dwight Howard, right? You had Chris Paul. You had Russell Westbrook. The reason why Russell Westbrook wanted out is because James Harden wasn't accountable, right? He's out late all the time late to meetings, or late to the plane, and that's what was circling around what Woj and all them were saying, reporting. And as a leader, you gotta be the front in line. You gotta be the person that sets the tempo for the whole team. So if James Harden, the whole thing that they were discussing on TNT, right? Player, what was that? Just because they're making more money, they're able to do that, but the other ones aren't. Which there's some sort of truth, but some sort of hey, you shouldn't be doing that, So I definitely think offensively, James Harden handicaps, like what you're saying, Drew, handicaps that team. And they are better off of not fully restarting, because you do have now a when healthy, you could talk about having an all-star point guard of John Wall. He's capable of that, right? DeMarcus Cousins coming back from injury, so that's kind of up in the air. But the chemistry they have, so I don't think you'll see a trade this season. It's all in the Rockets' hands, because I think what does James have? 3 more years?
No, he's got 2.
He has 2? Yeah. So
he's got either 2 or 1.
So
I think his contract's timeout. I think his contract's done next year, because they wouldn't offer you they wouldn't offer you a $50 million for a 2-year extension if your contract wasn't up. I think his contract's up this upcoming year, next year his contract's up.
No way. Because Woj was saying that they don't have to trade him this year. So that means
but they're only saying that because there's no available assets. Every team is low key doing good. The teams that you don't expect to really be doing good are doing good. Like the Sacramento Kings are decent. They got a pretty good lineup.
So he has 132.9 million over 3 years remaining. So he still has 3 years. They were just trying to.
He's an idiot, bro.
So
he's an idiot.
Well, I mean, he's just after. It looks like he's just one of those type of players where, like, hey, I'm gonna do my thing, but I'm gonna get myself some money and it'll be all good. I won't have rings, but that's what it is, right?
He's worth because what at one point what did they say when he signed the Adidas deal and he re-signed to Houston with after his contract was up. Somebody said that he's literally worth over $500 million or some shit like that. Yeah. Or he's worth at that time he was worth a lot of money when he signed that Adidas deal. He just went crazy because the Adidas deal was like what $200 million,
something crazy,
something around that area. But like I said, the thing about James Harden is he has to find that leadership. He has to learn how to play that leadership role. But he'll end up in Denver. If he doesn't end up in Denver, he's going to Boston.
All right, tell me, because we were talking about the trade. What is this trade you're talking about, D?
This is the trade I'm talking about. Michael Porter Jr., the 2022 draft pick, a 2023 draft pick, first round to Houston.
You got
and in the mix of that trade, Marcus Smart.
Is this like 2K? Three-way trade.
Thank you. I'm trying to make it make sense in my head. It sounds crazy right now, but Marcus Smart, another player to Denver, and then they also get Jokic in that trade, and James Harden goes to Denver.
They ain't giving up Jokic though. I'm sorry, bro. They ain't giving up
Jokic and Porter Jr.
No way,
bro. That's too tough. You're giving away your present and the future.
It's gonna be a blockbuster trade like the year that everybody the Boston got KG and Ray Allen. It has to be one of those trades because it's the only way it's gonna make sense.
That's different. That's different. Hey, D, that's different because KG was a free agent. Then they traded for Ray Allen, so it was only one trade.
Okay, then look up Jokic's contract right now. If he's got 3 years left. If James Harden's got 3 years left and you check and you see Jokic's contract, it's possible. Because Jeremy Grant's already with the Pistons and he signed a pretty good deal with the Pistons. So we can't say him. The only other pieces they have are Jokic or Michael Porter Jr. And they only said Jamal Murray was off limits. They never said anything about Jokic.
Jokic has $147 million for 5 years. So the price is pretty close.
Oh, man.
You know what? I'm going to speak for Orlando, even though I have no ties other than they're my favorite team.
There you go.
If you want to go ahead, because right now there's two.
Are you saying James Harden in Orlando?
Hold up. If we want to win now with Vooch, AG, Evan Fournier, and those three,
giving up
Cole? No, we'll keep Cole. We'll give them Markelle. We'll give them Jonathan Isaac. We'll give them.
That's tough, Jonathan Isaac.
And that dude from Auburn, I can't think of his name, but he tore his ACL, so he didn't play all last year, but he's starting to play this year. Those three, and then the first round pick.
You think that's enough? The Rockets are asking.
Okay, we'll throw Cole in there. Yeah, that should be enough.
What for James Harden? I don't know what it is.
And a first round pick.
None of it sounds worth it. James Harden is really not that great.
I mean, he isn't, but he is. That's the problem. He isn't, but he is.
Yeah. It's
like he's a once in a generation like scorer, but it's inefficient. Like he should be playing. Like honestly, I don't know who was worse, Carmelo, like before he got with Portland, or
like when he was in New York.
Like that Carmelo or him, because they both talked about they were both like black holes offensively.
Well, I mean, Amari was kind of on his way out at that point, but when he was in New York with Melo, so it's kind of like it wasn't his like all-star caliber self with Amari, right?
Yeah.
So But yeah, let's now how do you guys feel about that the trade then? Westbrook going to DC and then John Wall going to Houston then, since we're on the topic of the Rockets.
John Wall wanted out. We
Yeah.
knew that. You know, and you notice every time somebody wants out, somehow it leaks, and then the next day or within the next hour, like, oh no, we was just lying. That never really happened, and then a trade happens. So I told one of my local friends here, I was like, hey, John Wall wants out. No, they said that was a lie. No, guarantee he's leaving. I don't care.
Why do you
know
want it out? Since you're in DC, we'll go to you on that. Was it more like, hey, I need a scenery, I want to make the playoffs? Or is it playing?
No, they could have wanted to make the playoffs. They could have made the playoffs with him. I know, but you got to think about before he got hurt, him and Bill, they had been kind of going at it a little bit. You know, it wasn't big, but it was just like, you know,
pushing each other.
Huh?
Pushing each other's teammates, or
no, it was more like, I think it was like compatibility on the floor issues. Like, you know, Bradley probably wasn't feeling he got enough touches or whatnot.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had to take over the team while John Wall was injured for what, 2 seasons, or was it 3?
I'm talking about before that.
Right.
I don't see that happening because, like, the way Bill described it, like, they're like real brothers. Like, they really kick it outside of basketball.
Then I stand corrected, but I could have swore
all the smoke. I think, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like Bill, like I think when they said when this is one of those rare cases where I don't think John Wall really wanted to leave. I think what really made him request a trade is because he was about to come back and they had already put him in trade talks. And like, you got to understand what that's like to be. It's like having a job, and they're like, oh well, we're gonna move you over here to, you know, our company in such and such, you know, state, without your permission. And then they change their mind and say, oh no, we're not gonna do it. You know, we realize that we really need you here. Well, you were gonna get rid of me anyway, so if I find a new job, you can't be mad if I do. Like, that's basically the situation. That's how it translated to me. I don't think John Wall wanted to leave. I think he wanted to be there. And once he found out he was in trade talks, that's when things switched up.
Drew, what do you think another reason why it leaked? Like, maybe like manager was getting like with John Wall and what's his name? The coach. He used to coach OKC.
Brooks.
Scott Brooks. You think there was issues there?
Not that I know of. I'm not a John Wall expert.
Right. It just seemed like, I mean, Scott Brooks, I mean, think about it. He had KD, he had Russ and James. Never messed. Lost James, then he got fired. And then he went to DC because KD's contract was coming up. Hey, he'll just come here. Never happened, obviously.
That was a rumor.
Right. And then
big rumor. Yeah.
Right. And then getting
goes to the
star power again, you know, with an upcoming Bradley Beal and an all-star caliber John Wall at the time, and then they both become all-star caliber, right? I think the coaching does have to, and the management of going a different direction. I think that's what happened with that. But I think John Wall won in this situation. And I
think he has potential to he has potential to run a franchise by himself, because James Harden is obviously not acting accordingly. So I think once, you know, James Harden leaves or whatever, John Wall will have the ability to really run that organization. And watch, they're gonna make it to the Western Conference Finals, if not the finals. If John Wall's in charge.
This year?
Maybe not this year, because I don't think it's a championship or bust year. But I think next year, I mean, this year's possible. But I think next year for sure they're making the Western Conference Finals.
I think it all hinges on what happens with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yes.
If he stays healthy, they're in there.
It's a problem. Yeah.
Because DeMarcus Cousins, for 4 seasons, he was averaging double-double.
He was the best big man in the league before his injuries.
Yeah.
Before Jokic. Don't play Joker like that, bro. Don't do that.
I mean, it wasn't even like he was dominant. Like it wasn't even. You already knew you were.
But the thing that ruined DeMarcus Cousins' career is his attitude.
Easy.
actually set the foundation.
His attitude is what ruined it.
It's just his competitive nature, I think.
Well, no,
competitive nature and cussing out your coach are two different things.
I thought that was there some issue with trade talks with him as well in Sacramento?
Yeah, that's why he was getting frustrated.
Yeah, he went to the Golden State Warriors.
They were always
he didn't ask to be traded. They let him go and put him at the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's.
I vividly remember that.
Yeah, let's transition to Giannis' contract. Well, the contracts that went out. Right. So first, obviously, Giannis. I know D. You I'll let you take this one because I know you've had a bunch of areas or different teams that you thought he would go to. What are your take on the Greek Freak signing a 5-year extension?
I think it's smart financially. As far as championships goes, I don't think it's the best choice because yes, you have Drew Holiday. Yes, you have Vincenzo and all those other guys on your team, but that's chicken strips and fries when I want a steak. Like it's not the best choice to make. Granted, I understand you want to make sure your family's situated. Like I said, financially, it makes a lot of sense, but you can't sit up here and tell me, oh, you want to win championships. A lot of players fall into that. Oh, I'm going to show this, this organization loyalty because that's what MJ did. MJ stayed with the Bulls, but a lot of people don't understand that MJ almost went to the Knicks. MJ almost went to the Los Angeles Clippers when they first moved to Los Angeles. And Kobe almost went to Chicago. Like all these players that you think
Kobe almost went to the Clippers. Don't forget that. Like
that too. He almost
Jerry West talked him out of it because of that trash ass owner.
Look, some of your favorite players almost left their franchise. They only stayed because it just happened to work out. It was a Cinderella story for most of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as far as like Giannis goes, he should have just went to the Heat. He should have just went to the Heat. The basketball the basketball he's playing in the Bucks will look so much more beautiful if he was with the Heat because you have more help. You got Jimmy Butler, who's a fucking leader. He is a leader if I ever seen one, and he doesn't have to. He's one of those players that can score 5 points, but guess what? He's that same dude talking to you in the locker room. You scored 40, but you could have made this shot and that shot and that shot. Jimmy Butler's a different breed. And I'm not saying this because I see him play in the playoffs. I've been saying this for a minute because I thought he was a cancer for a while. But once I realized he just needed a coach that was going to work with him, it's different. That's where he should have went.
Question.
Yes.
If Houston gets tired of him, of James Harden, and they say, you know what? That Chris Middleton you got over there, Bucks, we'll go ahead and make this swap for you. How do you feel about the Bucks then?
It won't work. It won't work. I'm gonna tell you why it won't work. Because
I know why, but here's the thing. At that point, James will be closer to a championship than I think he ever was with Houston. Well, I can't say ever.
Exactly, because he fucked up every opportunity he had to win a championship.
That's true.
With Chris
Paul, if I'm talking shit about James Harden, best believe I'm only stating facts. I'm not stating anything that's propaganda, anything that's rumored. It's just facts. He's had championship teams the whole time he's been in fucking Houston.
He's already been to the finals with OKC in 2012.
But I'm talking about with Houston. He literally had a championship team the whole time he's been with Houston. Name one year that he had a team that couldn't win a championship. Please tell me. And I'm not saying this all hypotheticals based on like, oh, well, he's the only star player. No, bro. You literally you had Clint Capella.
Yeah.
Clint fucking Capella.
Clint.
And Montrezl Harrell.
I'll rest my case.
Yeah.
I'll rest my case.
I just think he's offensively, he just cripples your offense, and then
he's not a leader. He's not a leader. He's going through the exact same thing Carmelo went through in New York. You took the big check. You took the big check. You're financially situated. Now it's time to get a championship, and you don't want to fucking do it because you want to play ISO ball. That's all you want to do is play ISO ball. That's it. And how does that benefit your offense?
No.
If me, you, and Drew are on the same team, and my goal is to just shoot threes, you guys are smart enough to know to set me up to make sure that's all I have to do.
Right.
Yeah. The way that the Houston Rockets offense is set up is not about winning. It's not about losing. It's about James Harden. And that's no way to win again because if it's strictly about one person. You'll never win that way. And that's why James Harden doesn't have a championship.
Think about it when Kobe and T-Mac had that interview with Rachel Nichols. This is what we were talking about earlier. That's what Kobe said too, was, hey, yeah, you're putting up this amount to keep your amount of points, to keep your head above water for your team, but it'll never be a championship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
like Kobe said. I played hero basketball half of my career. He didn't start winning championships until he stopped playing hero basketball. He had to realize that I need to be a facilitator.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But Drew, what do you think about Giannis's contract? Drew.
Did he die?
I did die. Yeah. What happened? I heard hero basketball.
What did you think about Giannis's contract? About his decision to stay?
I mean, I think he's taking a very old school approach to his NBA career. He doesn't work out with anyone. He wants to stay loyal, and I mean, he's getting paid. You know, in the long run, we'll see how that works. But yeah, very old school approach.
Yeah, I think for the next two years, he'll be like, I think I made the right decision. But then when you're not winning championships, he's gonna regret it in that third and fourth year of that contract.
Why didn't he sign a 3? That's what I want to know.
Well,
why did he sign a 3-year deal?
I think he should. If he signed, I always thought if he re-signed, extended, it should be for the 3-year because then you have that TV deal coming into effect, which is going to pay you more. So he's actually losing out on money those last 2 years. But maybe he did it to save them money so they could bring in more people. That could be another reason, right? Where Drew Holiday, great pickup. What is it going to put you over? Like that we're going to go into is the Nets. Is it going to put you over the Nets? Who looks spicy as shit? Woo! So yeah, I think he's gonna regret it. But let's get into the Nets and how KD and Kyrie cooking. But not just that, it's their bench, how deep they are. They're like 12 men deep. That's the biggest thing. What is your take, Drew?
Yeah, you got to say pause after that. You can't say 12 men deep and just think we're just going to let that slide.
Hey, you got to remember, this is YouTube, all right?
Hey, you said 12 men deep. I'm going to just go ahead and say pause for you. I love you too, Tony. You my dog. KD's looking scary. KD is looking fucking scary, bro. And I used to give I literally would, if I had KD's number right now, I would just leave like car wash voicemails like, yo, you know you a bitch, right? You know you should have never went to the Warriors, right? Bruh, that is the biggest joke I've ever seen in my life. But
42.
Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, with KD, man, that dude, he's George Gervin on steroids. Let's be realistic. He's the Iceman. He's the Iceman of this generation. Nobody can score the way I said this on a hip hop forum. I spend a lot of time on. KD's the best scorer in the NBA. LeBron is the best player in the NBA.
I agree with that. Yeah.
You can't. KD literally would just stop in the middle of the court and just shoot and make it. He has a shot like Dirk Nowitzki. He has the agility and the speed of Allen Iverson, and his basketball IQ is up there with Pete Maravich. It's nuts. He's an anomaly. You've never seen anybody like KD. And everybody, and I was the first person to say, I don't know if KD and Kyrie are going to be able to work out. Kyrie literally has not said anything dumb since the NBA season has started, other than saying, I'm not going to talk to media, and he got fined by the Nets or whatever.
Yeah.
And burning sage before a game, but Kyrie's looking good too. The only negative I can say about the Nets is if they stay healthy, they're liable to win a championship this year. If they stay healthy. If it's on KD and Kyrie's back, you can get you a championship. That's the biggest. That's the Lakers' biggest threat right now.
You know what? A couple things. Tony and I talked with him the other night about this. We say the Nets are so deep, which is true, but I just feel like you just added Kyrie and Kevin Durant and pushed the lineup that way. So now this lineup that was 8th seed in the playoffs, the starting lineup, you've pushed some of them on your bench now. And, I feel like people don't, just like with the Warriors, when Iguodala was asked to lead a franchise in Philly, now we're going to put you on the bench. That has huge implications. And that's what's going on with the Nets right now. You've pushed these starters, like a starter in point guard in Spencer Dinwiddie. Now he's coming off the bench. What? He was like almost an all-star. What's up?
Let me ask you this: since you're talking about pushing, right? Do you compare that? I know this is a better duo than what the Clippers, but the year before, the Clippers lost to the Warriors, right? I think they were a 7th, I think they were an 8th seed, and then you get Kawhi and Paul George. Are you kind of comparing it to that or pushing them? Even though there's been, they kind of like put pieces.
They moved their roster around.
Yeah.
That was a bit more of a shakeup. From what I've seen with the Nets, virtually, I don't know how many people. I know what Joe Harris came back, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen.
Nobody really left or resigned. Like all their contracts were concurrent, like with the injury, like they stayed all intact.
Yeah.
But big thing is Jared Allen didn't sign his extension.
Okay, so that might be problematic. You need him to make that work off the. Well, no, he should be their starting 5, right? They're big.
No, DeAndre Jordan's their 5.
Okay, so we need to add that. So that's 3 people you've added. We pushed Jared Allen, who was a starter on the bench now.
Yeah.
Okay. He was an 8th seed starter. You have a playoff team that's now on the bench. Now you've got 3 all-stars caliber. Now you're in your starting lineup. That's huge,
Like,
and so looking at that, I understand that whole, they really challenged the Lakers. I don't. Do they win it though, or do they? I don't know. I can't see.
I think they, like I said, if they stay healthy, they win.
They go to the finals.
Yeah, health matters. I mean, but LA, bro, we saw so much from the last year, bro. And this is the thing: we saw so much from Denver in that Western series, and Jokic stepped up. That was a franchise player move that he made in those last 5 seconds, and then Davis answers that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jokic ain't no joke, bro. Jokic ain't no joke.
Yeah.
The Nets did bring because Dinwiddie is starting. Well, he started the last game at least against the Celtics, which that was a 2-point game going to halftime, and then they won by 8. They won by 28 in the second half. But they brought Jeff Green. Was Tyler Johnson on that team last year?
Don't think so.
I don't think so. And then they brought Shamet, who's part of the
Clippers. Yep.
Yeah. So and I think Jeff Green was also with the Clippers.
If he wasn't with the Clippers, he was with Orlando.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
So,
sure.
I mean, you brought some key pieces in there, and then adding a KD and a Kyrie back. I mean, that's good.
Damn it. I mean, he can be a key piece.
He's more of a playoff shooter.
Yeah. I thought he should have done better last year, particularly in the playoffs. But yeah,
it's just one of those things. With the Nets, I think they will. I think they will go to the finals if they stay healthy. And I think it'll be for the West. It'll be between the LA teams. If Paul George shows up, that's the key thing. If not, it'll be a rematch of last year's Denver and LA. And then obviously I believe LA will win that. So you're looking at a KD versus LeBron team. And they match up very well.
That's fair. Yeah.
So it's, to me, that series is a toss-up, but I think with the experience, because it's going to be a different year. This is not the bubble. Like, you're actually flying from city to city. So, I mean, I hope we finish the season because we already had one postponed, right? But I think it's going to be a good year, and I think Milwaukee got better. I think obviously the Nets got better because KD and Kyrie are back and a couple additions. I think Boston, when Kemba come back, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, they're playing well together. They just don't have enough dog in them for. Oh shit!
It froze. My bad.
When it comes to like, hey, give me the ball now. It was more pass first. After.
Did you see that?
I did. I saw that lucky shot.
Lucky? Oh man, come on, bro. He cooked that dude.
If he would have called glass, like okay, no. That was a good shot.
Listen, he disrespected that man with that shot. He disrespected that man with that shot.
He shot that from beside the out of bounds line, bro.
Let me ask you this then, okay? Second game is against the Nets.
Okay.
And you're doing your thing first half. How do you lose by 28 in the second half?
Okay, what did we just say about the Nets? What did we just say?
I know. I'm just saying. Come on. They both had like, I think 12 or 14 at the half, and then they finished with 20 and 26. It's got to be a full game.
I mean, Teague didn't play well either. Teague had like 9 points.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Kemba.
Also, this just came into mind about the Nets. I just thought about this. There's no real leadership with the Nets, and that might be an issue.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, because you do have,
I think that's
the experienced coaching staff. I think that's the leadership, but not one
experienced coaching staff, bro. You literally have Steve Nash. He's first year coaching.
Steve Nash has what's his name as an assistant coach, right? What was his name? He coached the Rockets last year.
D'Antoni?
Yeah, D'Antoni's the assistant coach.
D'Antoni's a terrible coach.
No, he's not.
Dude,
yes, D'Antoni is trash.
We weren't talking
bro.
about good or bad. We're talking about.
I'm picking Fitzgerald over. I'm picking Fitzgerald over D'Antoni.
Well, here's the thing: we weren't talking about good or bad. We're talking about actual NBA experience. And then you got a coach who's been a pure point guard for 20 years.
Oh my God!
Hey, he was D'Antoni's point guard at Phoenix when they were almost like they went on like a 20-0 start almost, or like a 19.
He revolutionized 7-second basketball,
and that's what it is today.
And no, it's not. It's not.
No.
It's not. No, nobody's offense really run. Don't get me wrong. Basketball moves a lot faster now, but the way D'Antoni had his offense set up was not the same thing. It's like, oh, give the best player with the highest percentage of the ball, and in 7 seconds, something has to happen. That's how his offense runs.
He had hitters on that squad too. His starting lineup.
Exactly. That's why his coaching style it progressed so much because he had a good team. He can't. Your coaching style should be to be able to make a bad team a good team. It shouldn't just make a bad team worse. Look what he did in New York.
Okay, but look what
New
he
York.
did in Houston with James Harden and his problems.
Yeah, I think he gets personalities, like really different personalities on the teams, and he can mesh them well, but it's just not good enough for a championship. That's just what it is. If you look at that Game 7 against Houston and the Warriors, yeah, James Harden's supposed to be the leader, but they shot like 1 or 2 of freaking like 40 from 3. So that's a team effort. So it's just they weren't hitting that game. But let's transition to what you call it? What the heck? D.
I think Deke's frozen. Yeah, he's been looking angry face for like the last 5 minutes.
Let's go to the Christmas games. What did you think of?
Sounds like he's trying to say something.
What did you think about the
No,
Christmas
let's
game?
take a pause. Let's take a pause. Who's kept fantasy? Because I've got
You what?
Domantas Sabonis, and he's just destroying the last 2 games.
He's balling out.
Yeah. And on the low, if you don't have him, you should. Colin Sexton from
I was
Cleveland.
thinking about picking him up, but I already had like Jamal Murray and Kyrie and Zach LaVine. So
Oh, you're good. But see, I had Mike Conley, so I was like, I think I might drop him for Sexton, or no, I was gonna drop him for Dragic. So I was just like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That
Can
might
y'all hear me now?
Yeah,
I can hear
you're
you
not
now.
frozen, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. That shit just booted me out the goddamn thing, and I could log back in. I was like, "What the fuck?"
No, but switch gears to Christmas Day games. What did you think of? I mean, we talked about Boston and the Nets, but how bad do the Warriors look?
They look like a team that needs a number 1 pick, and they have that, and it might not be enough.
I think we secretly all knew this along. The Warriors was an era. Let's be real. The Warriors were an era.
They're a system team.
Not even that too, but they were an era. Like they just existed for a couple of years. That was everybody's favorite team for a couple of years, and now they're just back to being the Warriors.
The thing is, we thought those years would never end, though.
No. Fantasy people thought they would never end. Logical people knew it was going to come to an end. I knew the Warriors era was over once KD got there. That ruined it. We all knew. After that, it was over. You can't get any higher than that. You got a fucking scoring champion on your team. You got a point guard who can literally fucking shoot your eyeballs out. You got Klay Thompson. You got Draymond Green. I think they still had Sean Livingston at the time. Harrison Barnes that got traded to Dallas 2017, 2018. So you can't sit up here and tell me that the Warriors were not undefeatable that year.
I knew
they made basketball unfair.
I knew that era ended once Draymond Green made that big scene with KD against the Clippers.
Yeah.
Once that
it was
happened,
over. KD never felt like home. It never felt like home to him.
Yeah.
And
that's what
another thing is during the championship, his first championship or his second championship with the Warriors, KD's after winning 2 straight MVPs, finals MVPs, like I forgot his name, but he's the owner of the Warriors.
Bob Myers.
Bob Myers did not even say thank you, KD. He said to Steph, Clay, Draymond, and didn't even say it to KD. Like
on top of that, he said you didn't earn it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
you have to understand that. And in all honesty, I was never really mad at the fact that KD went to the Warriors. What pissed me off when KD went to the Warriors is the fact that he tried to make it seem like it was LeBron's fault. LeBron made it cool to do this. No, LeBron, when he did the decision, he gave players power and control. I get to pick where I go. And we all know, not all, but most know that LeBron only went to Miami is because of Cleveland's front office.
The note.
He would have never left that team. He would have never left that team because LeBron was supposed to get Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who was supposed to come to Cleveland that year. And Dan Gilbert stopped it from happening. There was plenty of players that wanted to come play with LeBron. So the misconception that they didn't want to play with him is crazy. It's out of this world. So when he left, he was the first player to sign in Miami.
Yeah.
He talked to those guys, years before, like, hey, in a couple years, your guys' contracts are going to be up. Let's all go to one team and let's all team up.
Let me ask you
let's all make this thing work.
Let me ask you this. Who's a worse owner? The Cavs owner or the Knicks owner?
The
Sam
Knicks
Presti.
by far.
Sam Presti.
Sam Presti's the coach. Or Sam Presti's not even an owner.
Dolan.
Well, whatever he is, he's the worst.
Sam Presti.
I hate Sam Presti. Yeah, I hate Sam Presti.
You mean James Dolan?
That too, dude. Yeah, him too. They all look alike.
No, bro. Like Sam Presti actually knows what talent, and he's just doing what he can.
He's cheap. He's cheap. That's why I don't like him. He's cheap.
Well, every owner is that way.
Yeah.
No. Mark Cuban's not cheap.
Mark Cuban has that player mentality. That's why.
Then there you go. Mentality. Yeah.
No, I mean, compared to just owners who got rich and just let me own a team for profits. Right?
I think he invests in his team, though. You can't say the man doesn't, as far on front office wise, as far as the talent they acquire, you got to give him that. Unlike Orlando, giving away Victor Oladipo for Serge Ibaka, an old Serge Ibaka, with no one to play with him, knowing he's a complimentary player, and then eventually getting rid of him. Literally, from the Victor Oladipo trade, we got rid of him and Serge. So we have nobody from that trade. That draft pick is gone. Think about that. All players in between the Victor Oladipo trade and the Serge Ibaka trade, and then Serge leaving. We gave away Elfrid Payton for a second-round pick. He plays for New York now.
He was with the Spurs, wasn't he?
No, but he was at one point, but now he's with New York, last I saw.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with New York. It's the coaching for me, bro. It's just not – the coaching's not good enough in New York for the simple fact of they have all these good rookies, but there's no player development. They don't have great development over there.
Yeah.
There's no reason why R.J. Barrett should be scoring 26 points and doing such and such and this, that, and the third, and there's not another player doing the same thing, if not close to it. It's just not. I don't know. The system over there just isn't right.
Right.
It hasn't been right since what? Since Melo and Jason Kidd. That was what, Mike Woodson?
Even when Melo wasn't right.
They had a chance then.
Well,
I'm telling you,
they made the playoffs is with Melo. So obviously, even before that, when was the last time they made the playoffs? Before Melo.
Yeah, but you can't. But see, the thing about Melo when he was in New York, he was playing my player basketball.
I'm not talking about the last team with Melo on it. I'm talking about the New York team with Melo, Jason Kidd, and Stoudemire. That's
when he first signed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Kidd, you wouldn't have got nowhere with him anyways.
What you mean?
In reference to the simple fact of how the team is structured, if it's built around Carmelo, he's at this time that you're referring to, he's playing nothing but ISO ball. So that's not giving Jason Kidd's game a chance to breathe, really. You see what I'm saying?
That's true, but I feel like no matter what, Jason Kidd's gonna make your team better. I feel the same way like Chris Paul.
Yeah, but you can say that about any real great player. That's like the equivalent to a blanket statement. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Jason Kidd is an amazing point guard, great passing, good IQ. He's He's like the great value version of Chris Paul to me.
Facts.
He
You said
just
great
scores
value?
better. He just scores better. He just scores better. That's literally it. He scores better. He passes on the same efficiency. He can give you threes at the same efficiency. He can do everything that Chris Paul can do. It's just his IQ is not up there like Chris Paul's.
I gotta rethink that because
Jason, like I said, Jason, and he beat his wife. You can't be beating your wife and playing basketball. Can't do that. What the?
We're gonna bring out all these players' old transgressions against them on.
Yep, they're gonna. Hey, look, man.
Let's move on.
You first ask questions later.
Oh man.
Oh, all right. Hey, so what do you guys? I mean, it's only been a couple games, but what do you see from the top teams right now? Because I think it's tough to judge because this is still kind of like preseason for all these teams because they got like 2 weeks of preseason when it's usually 4 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell. I mean, like if you look at a team at Dallas, they don't have KP right now, right? And they're still trying to get in a form. Lakers, first night against the Clippers, they weren't worried about the Clippers, right? They were getting their rings. They were in the, I got my chip. I got my ring. It's all good, whatever about the game. But then everybody made the whole big deal about the Clippers beating the Lakers. But we already know what happened last year. That was the same thing. But obviously, the Lakers won the championship. So out of the teams, who surprises you right now? What do you expect from the top teams?
We're like 2 games in.
Yeah.
That's kind of early to say who surprised you. I feel like you need like at least 10 games. You know?
I mean, like surprise moves in the offseason to see what they've done so far. Like off-season moves is what I mean. I look at a team like Atlanta, kind of made some pretty heavy, some decent moves in the offseason.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, and then you get for the Lakers, you got Schroeder and Harrell, and then even a guy like Saul.
Yeah.
So those are some good moves. But even like stretching the floor for Ben Simmons and Embiid, getting a couple players like Seth Curry, Green, will only help. And getting a coach like Doc Rivers in Philly, right? Will only help Ben Simmons. What do you think about those type of teams? Because we already know about, like the Lakers, Clippers, they're going to be there. The Nets will be there. Milwaukee getting Drew Holiday will be there. But what are like the lower tier teams that you saw in the offseason going into this season?
Lower tier. I mean, Atlanta's the most impressive, like you said, even with the pickup of Rondo.
To mentor, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, let them get in the playoffs. Playoff Rondo's not a joke.
Right.
I want to see what happens with Sacramento because I feel like I think there was a one point they wanted to get rid of Buddy Hield.
I think that would be a mistake.
Huh?
I think that would be a mistake to get rid of Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I mean, because their core has kind of grown together. Him, Harrison Barnes, Fox, is Bagley still there? Yeah, he's still there.
He's injured.
Those four.
Well,
Yeah.
Last year, I think he's back. But I think the Kings are interesting. But I definitely do look at the Suns too as getting Chris Paul. Getting what's his name from Miami from last year, Crowder. His name is Crowder. Mm-hmm. Getting Crowder and Chris Paul on that team with DeAndre Ayton, who I mean he's going to give you 15 and 10, 15 and 12, But Booker finally having another player alongside of him where he can move more without the ball and potentially, I think Booker will lead the league. He could lead the league in scoring this year. Like he has that potential with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
right? So
Right.
instead of getting doubled all the time, now you have Chris Paul. Like you can't really double Chris Paul wide open or whatever, right? So I think that only helps them. But what do you think about the Suns?
I mean, they were a winning team to begin with, even though they finished in the ninth seed. Um, I could see them. We got both LA teams. The
What about Portland?
Portland. So then I could see Phoenix probably sitting. Oh wait, the Timberwolves.
Yeah, they're not making the playoffs.
You don't think so?
No,
I don't think the West is that deep though. Honestly, I feel like the East is
I think
better than the West.
I don't think it's better. I think they're actually even. Last year it wasn't even. You had like 2 teams in the East, 3 teams, right? But Toronto lost some key players.
Toronto's still gonna be top 5 in the East though.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Yeah.
But
Man,
I mean, they had
West-
Ibaka and Gasol, and they lost them both because they both went to LA. One went to the Clippers, one went to the Lakers.
Okay, I mean, do you see Denver and Memphis? They were the bottom 2. That was 8, 9. I could see both of them winning.
Denver was like a 3 seed.
Not Denver, excuse me. Memphis and
Utah?
Phoenix.
Oh,
Memphis and Phoenix. Okay, and then
I
Utah was
think Memphis will get better. I mean, this will be Jaw's second year
second year.
with Brooks there in the backcourt. They're just going to be growing together.
I like him.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that with Brandon Clark, he's going to be better. So I think
I don't think they're better than the 8th seed though.
No, I think Phoenix and Memphis will be fighting for that 7-8 spot. I think
So then I'll
as
put Memphis
long
at 8.
as Portland stays healthy. This is what really comes down to the rankings for me. If Portland actually stays healthy throughout the whole year, meaning Zach Collins, who's always been hurt, what's his name? Forgot his name. Covington going there, but I don't know if it's a full fit, but he can still put up points and can guard. So that's what they need because they lost Trevor Ariza, remember? So I think as long as Portland stays healthy, you're looking at both LA teams. You're looking at Denver. Like I said, Portland, if they stay healthy. Dallas, once they get KP back, they'll be a lot better.
I think that might hurt them not having KP in the race.
He's supposed to come back the first week. He's supposed to come back in like a week or 2. So won't be too bad. So and then you're looking at Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be there. Who am I missing?
Phoenix and Memphis.
Yeah, I think Phoenix and Memphis, and then
because you said the Timberwolves weren't going to get there.
No,
I can see. I don't see them no lower than 9 though.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think the Spurs will make it, even though, I mean, they have a decent roster, but they're just the 2 stars that they have aren't stars anymore. They're out of that.
But DeMar DeRozan,
DeMar
he
and
was never that great.
you got DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, and LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, they could still do their things like they used to, but not on a consistent basis.
They were never that great though. They were never.
I mean, I think out of all of them, Aldridge was the best when he was with Portland. Once he left Portland, I think that was the issue. He should have stayed in Portland with Dame.
He wasn't a superstar in Portland though.
No. He was never a superstar, but he was a consistent all-star. Like he was a key piece, right? But like once he left Portland and tried to be the guy, like the real the guy, try to be a superstar. It's hard to come in as a power forward trying to replace probably the best power forward of all time. So that's kind of on your shoulders, right? I mean, Tim Duncan. So I think that had an impact on him. But what do you say? He said his phone's tripping, but it's all right. But I think with Popovich, you can never count out the Spurs. to make the playoffs. I just think that they're in the rebuilding mode. I think Greg Popovich is on his way out. And I think Tim Duncan's going to take over that team as head coach.
He's assistant right now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's lead assistant, and he anytime Pop's out, he takes the reins as head coach.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Wait,
like
is Becky still on there?
Becky's like the backup assistant. So we'll see.
I mean, if you look at the time, we don't know. They could be pulling a move. Like, let's have the first, female head coach. I don't know when, but
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at like baseball in Miami, they made that one lady first GM. So it's not if, it's when that will happen as coach and all that stuff, right? But
because you saw Carol Lawson, she's on the Celtics staff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. And, I mean, great minds. It doesn't matter about gender or anything like that. It's all about basketball mind and knowing where to put people to be successful,
Yeah.
So I definitely think this year is going to be good. I mean, from what I've seen, watch out for Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they'll be a 6 seed. I think Atlanta could push it and be a 6 seed.
6 seed?
Yeah.
Hold up now.
They're my sleeper in the East when it comes to making the playoffs.
Sleeper, yes.
I think it just with the shooters that they obtained, right? It opens the floor more up for Trey, So what's that?
6 seed. I'm trying to keep this straight. All these playoff spots.
Right.
That's it. Brooklyn 1.
In no order, but for them, I think. All right, so I think the Nets take the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee takes the 2nd seed.
Why? Why do you have them over the Celtics?
I just think they have. Are they in the same division? No. Let me see. I think division.
They don't do those anymore, do they?
No, but it's total. But if you have an easier division, you're going to have more wins. That's pretty what it comes down to, right?
No. The little 4 divisions. I thought they did away with those.
No. So they have divisions, but it doesn't impact the overall seeding because it goes by wins and losses and percentage. But I'm saying is, so like Boston plays, they're in the Atlantic Division. So instead of playing Milwaukee 4 times a year, they're going to be playing the Nets 4 times a year, right? And Philly 4 times a year. Where you look at Milwaukee's division, they're going to play Indiana, Cleveland, Detroit, and Chicago 4 times. Compared to Boston playing those teams 3 times. You get what I'm saying?
I thought it went. Everybody plays one team from the other conference at least once, and then you play everyone from your conference at least twice.
No. So in a full 80, let's just say it's an 82 game season.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So let's say Milwaukee, 82 game season. Milwaukee will play the Lakers or all the West Coast team, all the West twice. 1 home, 1 away.
Right.
So okay. In your conference, not including your division, so they're in the Central Division. So in the Atlantic, in the Southeast Division, which you're well known with your Magic,
right?
Those 2 divisions, they're going to play each team 3 times. But in their own division, they play those teams 4 times.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying where you look at Boston or the Nets, you have the Nets, Sixers, Celtics, Raptors, and then you got the Knicks, whatever. But you got in that just one division, you have 4 playoff teams in the Atlantic Division.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So then
That
you look
would-
in the Central Division, which it's Milwaukee and pretty much Indiana that are making the playoffs. Maybe Detroit could push for that 8 seed, but it's a lot easier. Just like where Miami, Atlanta, or Orlando have a lot easier. I won't even throw Atlanta in there. I would say more Miami and Orlando because they made the playoffs last year, right? Where you have Atlanta,
Yeah.
Charlotte, and Washington 4 times. So that's a lot easier than going into the Atlantic Division playing those teams 4 times, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why we've seen Milwaukee have a better record than any other team the last 2 years, where
Right.
you look at like the Lakers have the second best record, right?
It's like the Patriots in their division
Exactly. Same thing. But like I've
when
always,
it's good.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just like last year in the Northwest Division. So this is the West Coast. You got Utah, OKC, Portland, and Denver. Half of the West was in that division for the playoffs. So you're still playing them more than 2 times. I think this year, this year's a little different, 72 games, but if you're in one area, you could pretty much play them twice, or you it's kind of weird, right? If you're on the West, you're playing both LA teams and then going up to SAC and Sacramento and like San Francisco to play the Warriors, right?
So what? I don't have the 8 I got Brooklyn Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, Indy, Miami, DC, and Orlando.
I think
so. What you're saying is the only way Atlanta gets in is if Orlando's out, and I can see that happening as an Orlando fan.
I think Atlanta will jump Orlando. I think basically all the teams except Orlando.
I agree.
From last year, but Atlanta, because of the offseason and spreading things more out, it's not always on, what's his name? Trae Young.
Oh, Trey, yeah. But you know what? Honestly,
they have more shooters around.
Because I think Atlanta and Orlando is a closer draw than you're making it out to be. I agree with you. I can see Atlanta taking their spot, but I think it's closer than you think.
It's just execution, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think Orlando is a better overall team.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the way they're running Atlanta with the additions that they have, they could spread the floor more.
Yeah.
And have better ball movement, right? Because that's what you guys are really missing is a true point guard. Not even a true point guard. Just someone who could get their own shots, but will also have 8 to 10 assists. That's what Orlando's really missing to go from an 8 seed to a 4 or 5 seed. Because you got
4 or 5.
No. That's what you're missing to become that, is what I'm saying.
No, I understand that, but I don't even think that's enough.
Because all right, so I have Brooklyn at 1, Milwaukee at 2. Because the way I've seen Indiana in the past 2 games, they're putting up 30 to 43s a game.
Yeah, Sabonis is a beast, dude.
Yeah. No, for sure. I remember watching them a couple times because my family loves Gonzaga, like from Spokane. So I'm a fan of that school and never went there, but fan, right? But
I remember you wearing their stuff in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I wanted to go. Just didn't go. But watching him there, man, like he was a beast. He's not his dad. He never will be his dad, but it's a different game too, is another thing.
He's better than his dad.
Different time.
I don't think Ariba has ever put in these type of numbers up. These are MVP-like numbers that he's putting up.
It is only 2 games. I'm not going off of this year. I'm going off previous years.
Oh, previous years. Okay. Right now, he's playing out of his mind.
If he's going to consistent this year, okay, you proved me wrong, right? But that's pretty much. But yeah, so Milwaukee 2, I'm going to put Boston 3. This is where it gets tough. I'm going to put Toronto at 4, even though they lost some key pieces, but they just know how to play. You know what I mean? I'm going to put Philly
Top
at
four. Your
5.
top 4 in no order. Who's your top 4 in no order? No particular order. Just your top 4.
The Nets, Celtics, Bucks, and Raptors.
So you're pushing Philly down to 5 on down.
Yeah, I think they'll be the 5th seed. Then Indiana at 6.
You know who you didn't miss? I'm gonna mention in the top 5. You didn't mention Miami, the Eastern Conference Final champion.
I think. Actually, no. I think they'll be a 6th seed. I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think they'll be a 6th seed. And then, damn, this shit's tough. You're right. I think this might be deeper than the West.
That's exactly what I was saying, man.
It's like once you actually.
Here's the thing. I left the Raptors off. I left the Raptors out. We might have to push Orlando and Atlanta out.
Okay,
Because the Wizards are getting in the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. They're getting in the playoffs.
I totally forgot about. Like, all right,
there's no way Orlando and Atlanta can make the playoffs.
Top 4. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Boston, Philly. I'm actually going to put them up. They have too much talent not to be a 4 seed. They have and actually have a head coach this time. A 5 seed will be Miami. Toronto will be the 6th seed. Indiana will be the 7th seed.
And DC would be the 8.
I'm taking Atlanta. I'm taking
Yeah.
I'm taking Atlanta.
No way.
Hey, no. Listen.
No way, bro.
I got to explain myself about this, all right? I'm taking Atlanta number 8.
And I haven't been here long enough to call myself a local, but still, I'm saying no way.
Washington needs to build that chemistry up.
You don't think in by the All-Star break they won't have some wins and that chemistry figured out?
I think it'll be
to where after the All-Star break they make
too late.
I mean, come on, man.
Because what if they only play until, because that's what, February?
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. No.
March.
Probably. I think March.
So being March, I honestly think this NBA season will get shut down by March.
I could see it happening. That's what I think would happen.
That's the issue here.
You think it gets shut down, but why can't they just redo the bubble again?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but they'll do it as
playoff bubble.
Yeah, exactly, and do the whole thing again like it was. I think that.
No. I think this is what I think. I think they play till the shutdown part, and they're like, okay, from this point on, right here, top 8 and top 8, they're going to the bubble.
I don't think they're going to.
You just have to play.
They're going to have play-in.
Huh?
They're going to have like 8 games again. They're going to do the play-in stuff.
No,
because they need it. They have to. They have to.
Why would you do that? Why? I understand why they did to begin with, because they had to restart the season and then play in. I'm saying from the shutdown point, just have playoffs. Get everybody tested, get everybody on the plane, and get it ready at Disney.
Yeah. I think, I'm pushing Orlando out, pushing DC out, and putting Atlanta there at number 8.
Oh, dude, you're biased.
I'm not biased. I'm not. How am I biased?
That court is not better than Russ and Brad.
I didn't say it was. I think they played better as a team.
I might give you that. But here's the thing: Rui's still out.
Better as a team. That's the only reason why.
You know Rui's still out. Hachimura, he's still out.
Oh yeah, I know.
Come
So,
on, dude.
all right, let me talk about the West now.
We talked about them already. Remember?
I think I gotta change it. All right, because there's a couple teams I forgot about. All right, so number 1 seed, I'm going the Lakers. Number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm probably.
Clippers.
I think it will be the Clippers. Yeah. 3 seed. I'm gonna go Denver. Yeah. 4 seed.
Portland. Make it easy.
No, I'm gonna take Utah. I think Utah will take that.
What did you say? Utah?
I think Utah. They'll take that 4 seed. I
Well,
think
look at
Portland will
the
take
place
the
right
5th seed. I think Portland, as long as they stay healthy, will take the 5th seed.
You can look me in the face right now and tell me you have Utah as a better team than Portland.
I don't think they're a better team.
Okay. All right.
I
I
don't
can roll
think they're a
with that.
better team. Let's look like the last 2 years. Utah has been a 4 or 5 seed.
No, I can roll with that. As long as you say they're not a better team.
They're not. No way. And if they play, if that goes, Utah versus Portland, Portland wins that series in 5 or 6. I'll give them 1 or 2, just because of Spider, right? 6 seed. I'm gonna give it to Dallas. 7 seed.
Phoenix.
Yeah. I'm gonna give
Come on,
Phoenix
dude.
7 seed. Now this is a big if. With their talent, as long as no trade happens, I put Houston in the 8 spot. I don't know if I could do Memphis over Houston. They could be a lot higher as long as James Harden stays on that team. Or they could go a lot higher if he's not. That's the crazy part. See, that's the team we left out when we first talked about it, is Houston.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because James Harden's really going to impact their record if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
If
If that happens, Phoenix,
he does
Phoenix
play, he handicaps him.
yeah. If that happens, every team gets pushed down, like 5-1 down.
So I might put Houston. Man,
5-8,
I
somewhere
don't know if I
5
could
through
put him
8,
at 8. I think I have to put him up higher.
7 through 5.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think I'll put them at a 5 seed and push everybody else down 1.
Yeah.
And I mean Dallas. Yeah, Dallas has a rematch. That's crazy. Phoenix, yeah. Phoenix will get the 8 spot.
I can roll with that. So,
Yeah, because I was like, man, we're missing
now
a team. I know we're missing a team from the West. What is it? It was Houston.
it's Minnesota. But now that they haven't made the playoffs, you have Anthony Edwards. He's probably going to average 15 a game.
I think he
Cat
I
on
think
average
he gets
30.
17 or 18. He has that scoring ability.
That's tomato, man. All right.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
tomatoes, tomato. It's not a dub, so, all right. So you said his first year, Karl Anthony Towns. The Washington kid,
Russell.
Isaiah Young, I think he was drafted on that team too.
Let's see.
He should be on fantasy. Let me see.
Yeah, Sabonis is balling out, bro.
I told you, man. One of my first round picks. Let me look up. Can't you do it by teams? Is he gonna jump back on?
Let me see. Yeah, you got Cat, D Russ. Koji is good. He's pretty decent. Beasley, I like Beasley a lot.
Oh, Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
You mean
Coleman.
Laura's boyfriend?
I mean, like I said, Anthony Edwards.
You didn't hear me. I said Laura's boyfriend.
I mean, Minnesota's just about to beat Utah right now.
Oh, Ricky's there. No, who's on there? Yeah, Jaden McDaniels. That was his name. I watched him at Anchorage play. They played Baylor before I left last year. Yeah.
Oh, for the Alaska shootout?
No, it was the Armed Forces Classic that ESPN put on.
Oh, okay.
Because the shootouts no more. They canceled that.
They canceled
Not
it?
canceled. It's like dead. Like there's no more shootout.
It's only Division III teams were coming up.
No, not. I think Coast Guard came up. See, this is what they did. No, look. This is what they did. They played themselves because ESPN wanted an earlier game. So instead of having UAA play the Coast Guard first, they put the Baylor and Washington game first, and then it was UAA and Coast Guard, and everybody left after the Baylor
There
game.
was no point to stay.
There was no point. Yeah.
So that was
I'm like, why would you play yourself like that? You know.
you just lost hella money.
Well, no, they probably got money too. So
Dang.
I'm sure they made some money. But the thing is, I'm sure ESPN probably would have pulled out if they was like, no, we want to play the UAA game first.
Oh yeah.
But you always put JV first before you play varsity. Like,
Oh, look at this. Spurs beat the Raptors, sir.
it's the second game, man.
Hey, they're 2-0.
So is Orlando. We don't have them going.
Yeah. No, but I think James Wiseman had another great game, a decent game. He had like 18.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, garbage time again, but there's gonna be a lot of that. That's why I think he's gonna be rookie of the year.
That might be the case.
Unless another I just don't. It's not a deep draft. That's the thing. Like star-studded draft, right? In like recent years, where like one player could take over a horrible team and get them to the 7th or 8th spot, kind of like Ja did. Close, right? So we'll see, man. I think since Steve's probably not going to join us, he's got to fix his stuff, man. But I think that should be it. I mean, unless you want to cover something else, I think that's about it, right? All right, everyone. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned. Drew will be the third member of the pod. Yeah, I mean D's gone, so that you only see 2 people right now. So, but just stay tuned. We're gonna stop dropping more, getting back into it since the holiday season is basically over. We'll have more time to do things. But yeah, this is it. You want to say anything, Drew? First time? No? You're like, I'm just here.
I'm the third wheel.
Oh man. All right. So that's it today. Just stay tuned and all right, we out.